Have you ever walked down an old street? Perhaps one paved with uneven cobblestones. You can feel the history right under your feet. Each stone seems to whisper a story. Stories of people who walked there long ago. Stories of celebrations, of daily life, of big changes. These streets are like open-air museums. They invite us to slow down. They ask us to listen closely. They want to share their secrets with us. It's a special feeling, connecting with the past this way. Imagine the countless footsteps that have polished these surfaces. Think of the horse-drawn carriages clattering by. Picture the merchants selling their goods. Children might have played games right where you stand. These old streets hold so much life within them. They are not just paths from one place to another. They are threads in the rich tapestry of human history. Walking them is like turning the pages of a living storybook. This essay is an invitation. We will wander through some of the world's most fascinating streets. The adventure begins with that first step onto an old, welcoming path. Let's travel first to Rome. Here we find the amazing Via Appia, the Appian Way. This ancient road is truly legendary. They called it the Regina Viarum, the Queen of Roads. It was built way back in 312 BC. Imagine that. For over 2,000 years, it has witnessed history unfold. It stretched from Rome all the way to Brindisi. The road was a marvel of Roman engineering. Roman legions marched proudly along its stones. Chariots rumbled, carrying important officials or wealthy citizens. Messengers on horseback galloped with urgent news. Merchants led carts piled high with goods from faraway places. The Via Appia was the lifeline of the Roman Republic and later the Empire. Today, walking the Via Appia is a powerful experience. Parts of it are still paved with the original Roman stones. You can see the deep ruts worn by chariot wheels. Tall pine trees and ancient cypress trees line the route. You can almost hear the echoes of those ancient footsteps. It's a testament to how a simple road can carry so much history and emotion. Now, let's journey to Paris, the city of lights. Its grand boulevards are famous worldwide, but Paris wasn't always like this. Before the mid-19th century, many Parisian streets were very different. They were narrow, winding, and often dark. Imagine a medieval maze of alleys. These streets were full of character, but also crowded. They could be unhealthy and difficult to navigate. This was the Paris of old, a city crying out for change. Then came Baron Haussmann in the 1850s and 1860s. He was tasked by Emperor Napoleon III to modernize Paris. And modernize he did. Haussmann dramatically reshaped the city. He carved out wide, straight boulevards. These new avenues were lined with elegant uniform buildings. They brought light and air into the city center. They also made it easier for troops to move, a key concern at the time. This transformation was controversial, but it created the Paris we know and love today. Life on these new boulevards quickly blossomed. They became the heart of Parisian social life. People would stroll along them, a practice known as flânerie. Cafes spilled out onto the sidewalks. People sat for hours, sipping coffee or wine. They watched the world go by. They embodied a new, modern Parisian spirit. Let's travel east to Kyoto, Japan. Here in the Gion district, we find streets that transport us to another era. Gion is famous as Kyoto's geisha district. Its streets are lined with traditional wooden machiya houses. These merchant houses often feature hidden courtyards. Many now serve as ochaya or tea houses. This is where geishas, or geiko as they are known in Kyoto, entertain guests. The atmosphere here is truly unique. Imagine walking these streets centuries ago. Soft light from paper lanterns would illuminate the way. The clip-clop of wooden geta sandals would be a common sound. Perhaps you'd hear the faint notes of a shamisen, or catch a glimpse of a geiko gracefully gliding to an appointment. These streets were and still are places of refined entertainment and artistry. They represent a deep cultural heritage. The architecture itself speaks of a different way of life, focused on craftsmanship and subtle beauty. Walking through Gion, especially in the evening, is magical. Section 5, Ranchi's main road, a journey through local transformation. Now let's consider a city perhaps less globally famous, but equally rich in its own story, Ranchi in India. Its main road offers a fascinating look at how a regional hub evolves. In its earlier days, perhaps during the British colonial era, Main Road would have been very different. It might have been a less crowded thoroughfare. It would have been lined with simpler structures. Bullock carts and bicycles might have been the main modes of transport. It served as the central artery for a smaller, quieter town. Think about the early life on Ranchi's main road. It was the primary commercial spine. Shops would sell local crafts, textiles, and daily necessities. Government buildings might have dotted its length, signifying its administrative importance. People from surrounding villages would come here for trade. It was a place of meeting and exchange. The pace of life would have been slower. The sounds and smells would have reflected a more agrarian society, gradually embracing urban development. Over the decades, Ranchi's main road has witnessed dramatic changes. As the city grew, so did the road's intensity. This road mirrors Ranchi's transformation into a bustling state capital and educational centre. Section 6. The ground beneath our feet. The evolution of paving. Let's think about something we often take for granted. The surface of our streets. The journey of paving itself is a fascinating story. In the earliest human settlements, paths were simple. They were just dirt tracks worn smooth by feet and animal hooves. These paths were dusty in dry weather and muddy when it rained. Travel was often difficult and slow. Imagine trying to move heavy goods over such surfaces. It was a constant challenge for early communities. Then came the Romans, great innovators in road building. We talked about the Via Appia. Roman roads were engineered to last. They used layers of stone, gravel, and sand. The top layer was often made of large, tightly fitted paving stones. These roads were durable and allowed for faster travel. They were crucial for the Roman army and for trade. This was a huge leap forward in street technology. It set a standard for centuries to come. After the Roman Empire, road building techniques often declined in Europe. For many centuries, streets in towns and cities were often unpaved, or they were roughly paved with cobblestones. Cobblestones are rounded, natural stones. They create a very bumpy ride. Section 7. Street life, the heartbeat of commerce and community. Streets have always been more than just ways to get from A to B. They have always been the lifeblood of our communities. From the very beginning, streets were natural places for commerce. Imagine ancient marketplaces. Sellers would lay out their goods along a main path. People would gather to buy, sell, and trade. This is how many towns and cities first grew. The street was the original shopping mall. It was where economic life happened. Beyond commerce, streets have always been vital social spaces. They are where people meet. Neighbours chat over fences that border the street. Children play games. Communities hold festivals and parades along their main thoroughfares. Streets have also been places for public expression. Think of protests and demonstrations. People gather in streets to make their voices heard. The street is a stage for public life, reflecting the joys, sorrows, and struggles of a community. As cities grew, the nature of street commerce evolved. Permanent shops with display windows began to line the streets. Specialized districts emerged, a street for tailors, another for bakers. Section 8. Holding on to history, the art of preserving our streets. Preserving our historical streets is a wonderful but often challenging task. Why is it so important? These streets are tangible links to our past. They connect us to the people who lived before us. They tell the story of our city's development. They contribute to a place's unique identity and character. Walking down a well-preserved historic street can be a deeply moving experience. It's like stepping back in time. It helps us understand who we are and where we come from. However, preservation faces many challenges. Modernization often puts pressure on old streets. There's a demand for wider roads to accommodate more traffic. New buildings may seem more practical than restoring old ones. The cost of maintaining historic paving and architecture can be high. Finding the right balance between preserving the past and meeting present-day needs is tricky. It requires careful planning, community support, and often difficult choices. Despite the challenges, there are many success stories. Many cities around the world have recognized the value of their historic streets. They have implemented careful restoration projects. Section 9. Your town, your story, a call to explore your own streets. We've journeyed through Rome, Paris, Kyoto, and even Ranchi. We've seen how streets carry history and reflect change. But the most important street stories might be right outside your own door. Every town, every city has streets with a past. They might not be as famous as the Via Appia, but they have their own unique tales to tell. I encourage you to become an explorer in your own community. How can you discover the history of your local streets? Start by simply walking and observing. Look at the names of the streets. Do they offer clues? Notice the age and style of the buildings. Are there old paving stones hidden under modern asphalt? Visit your local library or historical society. Old maps and photographs can reveal so much. Talk to older residents. They often have fascinating memories and stories to share about how things used to be. You might be surprised by what you find. That ordinary-looking street corner might have been the site of an important local event. The old building you pass every day might have a remarkable history. As you learn more, you'll start to see your surroundings in a new light. The familiar will become fascinating. You'll develop a deeper connection to your own place.